This is big, breaking, emergency news. We are now seeing a major test by government agencies like NASA. They are now doing this major test and have been doing this for a while now. And they are saying that this could have implications potentially on the environment, right? On the weather, and even make it rain, right? That's what news reporters are reporting on mainstream television, right? So this is big that this is happening. We also have a lot of other things going on as well. We have evacuations in order because we are having problems with levees and dams, right? There is a dam that has a massive 60-foot crack in it and is threatening a town right now, a rural town, right? We also have levees breaking in Mississippi that actually aren't that far from this test that just happened, right? So I'm not saying any of these things are related, but there is stuff going on and I'm reporting on it. So let's dive into this news here really quick. Hit that like, hit that subscribe. I'm posting multiple videos a day, keeping you guys updated on this big urgent news. All right, so you can see here, this is a test that NASA just ran, all right? And just a few days later, there is a massive flooding incident going on, all right? Right now, there's major flooding happening down in the south. I'm not saying these things are related. I'm just saying this is what's happening. And there's been tornadoes, there's been flooding, there's been all this stuff, tornadoes hitting St. Augustine, flooding all over Mississippi, Florida, Alabama. All right, tons of flooding going on right now. And this test just happened as well just a few days ago. All right, so I want you to listen to this little video clip here from mainstream news, all right? Just showing you what this does exactly, what it can do, and then we'll dive into these other events here that are happening around the same time as this major test. So you can see here, this is a video that was posted by the BBC and Jeremy Clark, right? And this test actually just happened again. They're always doing these tests. They just did another one just a few days ago, but I want you to listen to this really quick.
Don't worry if you can't hear what I'm saying. I couldn't even hear myself. This is the loudest sound you could possibly conceive. And as it turns out, the cleanest. Now, the most amazing thing is that cloud up there, which was generated by the engine, is just a mixture of hydrogen and oxygen. It's water vapor. And in about an hour's time, someone in Mississippi is going to get wet washing. It will actually rain. I told you! It's raining! That's unbelievable! Oh, NASA's playing God! It's making its own weather!
Alright, so you saw that there. That's a BBC report that was put out by Jeremy Clark, alright? And they actually just did this test again just a few days ago. You can see here it says NASA conducts final, because they're always doing these RS-25 rocket test at Mississippi's Stennis Space Center. All right, so they actually just did this a few days ago, April 3rd. And it says the test lasted 500 seconds with a maximum power level of 113%. Right? That's what they're saying. This just happened just a few days ago. They did this massive test. Right? So, and they're saying that it can make rain clouds and cause it to rain. That's what they're saying on the BBC right now. And this was just tested again. So this technology exists. And now we are seeing, look at what's also happening. I'm not saying these are related, but this is also what's happening in Mississippi right now. Mississippi sheriff warns of levee break, tells residents to, quote, evacuate immediately. You can see here it says a Mississippi county on Wednesday warned of a levee break on a lake during warning subdivision residents to evacuate immediately. All right, they're getting a ton of rain down south right now. This is affecting Florida, Mississippi, Alabama, and there's even tornadoes hitting places like St. Augustine, Florida. It says an announcement from the Yazoo County Sheriff's Office said, if you or someone that you know lives in the Eastbrook subdivision on Highway 16 in Yazoo County, you need to evacuate immediately. The levee is about to break on the lake and the houses will be flooded. Please get out ASAP. All right, so that's what emergency personnel are saying in post right now for Yazoo County and Eastbrook. All right, and this is happening everywhere. There's flooding all over down south. I'm down south right now, and our yard is completely flooded out. All right, the chickens I had to move our big chicken coop, this giant chicken coop, had to move it over because the flooding was so bad. It's never flooded this bad before. There's never been this much water buildup, and it was just pouring over into the coop, and the chicks were just standing in 2-3 inches of water. All right, so I had to move it over. Took a while to higher ground, even higher ground, because it's raining so much. All right, so this is a live situation right now, and these tests apparently just happened a few days ago. Not saying they're related, but this stuff's going on, right? And this warning is going out, and people are being asked to evacuate. You can also see here, this is also happening in Utah as well. It says water is pouring out of a 60-foot crack in a Utah dam as city of Panguitch prepares to evacuate. All right, so this city is a little bit north, maybe 30 minutes to an hour north of Zion National Park. It's in like southwestern Utah. And it says workers are rushing to try to shore up a rural Utah dam after a 60-foot crack sent water pouring into a creek and endangering the 1,800 residents of a downstream city. It says state and local leaders don't think that the Panguitch Lake Dam is in imminent danger of breaking open, but have told residents to be prepared to evacuate if conditions worsen. All right, 60-foot crack is pretty big, all right? And you can see here, all right, that really flat spot right there, that's the dam, and they're trying to break up the ice on the other side of it and get it away from the dam because they think the ice is expanding and pushing on the dam and potentially putting cracks in it. All right, and you can see here it says that they said, quote, I can't say that the emergency situation is entirely averted, but I am very, very encouraged by the progress that we've made today. All right, and this is important because Utah actually has its own cloud seeding program as well. And I'm not saying these are related, but these programs exist, and they could potentially be causing crises and emergencies in certain locations. The plausibility is definitely there. You can see here, this is from the Utah Division of Water Resources, utah.gov, official website. And you can see here it says Utah has been cloud seeding since the early 1950s to help augment the state's water supply. The Cloud Seeding Act of 1973 gave authority to the Utah Division of Water Resources to oversee state cloud seeding projects. Cloud Seeding Act of 1973, over 50 years ago, 51 years ago, that act went into effect, and they're only doing it more every single year and bringing on more programs and more weather manipulation. You can see here they have ground-based seeders that shoot silver iodide into winter clouds where it helps form ice crystals. It says the seeders are placed along foothills and higher elevations where they are released, and cloud seeds is timed so that the air currents carry them high into the clouds. All right, so this is happening everywhere. Every single state in the country has these cloud seeding programs, and some of them They have these exact things. They're burning off silver iodide flares on planes. Okay, and they also have programs where they release sulfur dioxide. It's called solar radiation management. And they release that into the stratosphere. It's also called stratospheric aerosol injection, where things like sulfur dioxide are injected into the stratosphere, one of the highest levels of the atmosphere that planes can fly, and they're spraying it. And that is potentially what you're seeing sometimes when you see these big swaths of white blottage blackouts, these white goop clouds that are just a big conglomerate. They don't actually look like clouds. It just looks like this film is kind of blocking out the sun. Those programs also exist and are operating in multiple different states, and there's even federal programs for it as well. The White House released a document on it last summer. So let me know what you guys think. What do you think about this NASA rocket test? And they're saying it's just a rocket, right? It's just this rocket that they test all the time, that it's stationary though. It just sits there. And NASA is even saying that they need more rockets, right? But they haven't had any missions, and they're always testing these rockets, firing them off, but they're never actually firing them into the air or into the atmosphere or anywhere into space. Never. It's any of that. It's always on the ground, and it creates these major events like this where they even say it could create rain and weather systems, right? And that video from the BBC, that video is 5+ years old. They've been doing this for a long time. They've been doing these tests with the RS-25 engine, and they have these space centers and have these rockets all over the place, but they never actually go into the air. They're always on the ground. And then, like they said, they can create rain clouds. And that guy, Jeremy Clarkson, he even said that they're playing God. He said that NASA is playing God. All right, so I want to know what you guys think. There's all this different stuff. They were firing rockets into the shadow of the solar eclipse, into the ionosphere. So they're studying all these things. And there's a lot of things going on in the background that we really don't even know are happening. All right, so make sure you are getting prepared. We need to say that we do not want these different programs. All right, if they can solve drought, things like this, all right, that might be a noble cause, because we don't want droughts out west, and there are water issues out west. So that might actually be something to consider. All right, but there needs to be consent. We need to know what's going on, and we need to know the long-term effects of these things too, and there needs to not be devastation. But when it's happening in Mississippi, I'm sure people in Mississippi don't want more rain. That's the last thing that we need right now, and it's causing the levees and the dams to overflow and break because they're getting so much rain right now. And they have heavy clay soil up there. It can't really just absorb all this rain. It reaches a saturation point, and it's not really sucking up any more water. Right? It's just flowing and trying to get to the lowest point and creating tons of flooding. All right, this is a major issue, and I'm seeing people all over the place say that they've lived in places for decades and they've never seen this type of flooding before. And we keep seeing it too. It's like there's a 100-year flood happening in all these different places every few years. It's like, oh, there's another 100-year flood. It's supposed to be, that's what these events are supposed to be. It's like a 100-year flood. All right, wiped out everything, wiped out the town. Happens once every 100 years, whatever. But these things are happening all the time now. They're increasing in frequency, and these technologies potentially could be accelerating it, or at least making the situation worse. All right, so Let me know what you guys think. Please hit it up for me down there so people know what's going on. People need to know about these experiments, about all these things. There's 100 different experiments that we don't know that are going on in the background. All right. And something that I thought was really weird, just for take this, what do you think of this? Is this some kind of conspiracy? What is this? This is weird. That the guy who, the founder of CERN, the guy who created it was like his idea to produce this and was like the leading person for CERN, he passed away on April 8th during the eclipse, on the day of the eclipse when they started up CERN and everything. I don't know, it's just weird. So apparently that happened. It could be a major, who knows, it could be a coincidence. But there's a lot of coincidences that are happening all the time, right? So just something I thought I would throw out there, something I thought was interesting, that another weird thing happening. It all feels like some weird ritual is going on in the background. It's kind of in our face, we kind of see it, but it's also in the background because we don't really, it's hard to figure out what exactly they're doing, what's going on. So thank you guys. Hope you're getting prepared. Hope you're ready. Pray for people down south right now, all right, because there's been devastation with these tornadoes, this flooding, all this stuff. People are being affected. So thank you guys. I hope you have big blessings for your life and your family, and I hope you have a big old blessed day.